Welcome back to another episode of Raul's World of Synths. I am Raul. Today we're going to be going a little bit further with the Doepfer A116 voltage-controlled waveform processor. If you followed us along in the last several videos, you would have seen some basic oscilloscope views of our friend, the Doepfer A116 in action. We kind of processed some sine waves and some triangle waves, kind of got a good grasp on how the symmetry and the clipping level will have an effect on your signal, as well as just the regular level input up here. We're going to continue that with some more audio processing, but this time around we're going to do some modulation as well. I have some modulation sources sort of set up down here at the bottom. Let me unpatch this because I was just practicing. But if you look over on the left, we have our sequencer set up. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail other than to say that this is going to sort of generate notes for us as we're moving along. The outputs from our sequencer over here are at this cable right here, and then they're going up into our A111 over here. I have it silent right now, so I need to patch the output from our multiples over here, right there, over into the input of our waveform processor. There we go. And if you look at our scope over there, we only have our sine wave going because I already have the sine wave out right here, patched out. And that should be going off to our oscilloscope over at this first green cable right there. So now I just need to take my audio out from my waveform processor, patch it. There we go. And there is our signal. Now I wanted to start with something sort of straightforward, so I'm going to bring the clipping level down. And if you remember this little move here, when I had the symmetry all the way down, bring my level down a little bit. When I had the symmetry level all the way down, we pretty much just had a copy of what we had at our input over here. But we noticed that when we moved the symmetry, it kind of started to kind of disappear at first, and then as it came back, it was actually sort of flipped over. So there's that, and then that. Okay. So why don't we try a simple modulation starting with that. So I'm going to go down to my bottom section over here, and I'm just going to take a triangle wave and try and see if I can recreate that. So we're going into the symmetry CV input right here, patching in. And let's see, I think my waveform's in high frequency, so let me bring that to low. Bring up my CV input. Let's see if we get some movement there on the lower waveform. There it goes. So there's our regular one, flipping over. Looks like it's happening a little bit too fast. Let me adjust the waveform there. And it's flipping a little bit too fast. Let me try a different waveform. Let me just try for my regular A145, because I think my waveform sitting here might be throwing me off. Let's just try a simple sine wave. There we go. Bring down the frequency a little bit. Let me bring up my amplitude so we can hopefully see that. There it is. Frequency down a little bit on my modulation signal. That's just one simple modulation. Let me bring up my level a little bit so we can see that. A little more pronounced. There we go. Now let's play with the clipping level. Get some fairly nice little movements there using just a standard LFO. And that's modulating the symmetry parameter there. after I found kind of a decent clipping level setting that I liked. Let's try a different symmetry setting. So I'm going to go to about the middle. That's actually a little bit more interesting. Let's bring down the level so it's not as crazy right there. A little more subdued. Okay, so that's just a basic modulation. Let's try a different waveform while we're at it. Take out of the sine and just go into triangle. And you can see the modulation happening. It's kind of just doing that little flip. All right, now let's play with symmetry a little further, go a little higher. Okay, so that's interesting. Now let's take that same modulation and take it out. Let me find kind of a good setting here that I like. Let's see if we can get that. Those little dips, yeah. Something like that. And this time we're going to modulate the clipping level, which is the next one up. So we're going to take that same sine wave and just go in here to the clipping level. I like that kind of almost like a zipper sound in the middle right there. So if I wanted to accentuate that, I could bring up the CV input a little bit. Maybe slow down my LFO to kind of stretch it out a little further. Let's play around with symmetry just a little. Just want to find something a little different. Let me unpatch my modulation signal and find something a little different than what we were listening to. So just clipping a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let's try that.